So does the wage gap exist?
I just think you're brainwashed. Something.
You think I'm brainwashed?
I think that there is a lot of expectations for women to behave a certain way.
Are there not expectations for men to behave a certain way too?
Yes, there are.
I would almost argue it's easier to start a business in America as a woman. You have preferential treatment when it comes to loans, preferential hiring processes. Literally just because you're a woman, women are the majority of college graduates. Life being a woman, I feel like in some ways kind of life on easy mode if you play into the corporate structure. They literally have empowerment programs that they don't allow men, let alone straight white men in. There's literally a multi-billion-dollar corporate push to empower women. You know, you think I'm brainwashed, you can think that, but you also espouse an ideology that you can't even give me literally one example why you actually believe it, let alone define it, but you just slap that label on because that's what mainstream society's told you to believe. So I think you're actually the one who's brainwashed.
I'm brainwashed.
Girl, you are so based.
Thank you.
I love you.
We look like we're headed to a baby shower.
That is true.
How is the campaign going before you
Oh, my
go?
gosh, it's going great. I have been traveling every day that I'm not in the classroom. People are excited.
Bro, what the fuck what did you just say?
People are excited.
Are you sure? And the economy, always an important factor. Well, this is a trouble sign for the Biden campaign because across the 7 states in this Wall Street Journal poll, only 36% say that the strength of the economy is excellent or good. 63%, nearly 2/3 of Americans in these 7 decisive states, say not so good or poor.
So it's not a part of you that's a little worried because you seem to be off kilter a little bit.
No, I feel that Joe will be reelected.
But when these polls, like the Wall Street Journal one, land in the White House and he's losing in all the battleground states.
No, he's not losing in all the battleground
one.
states. He's coming up, and he's even or doing better.
According to the new numbers from the Wall Street Journal, Trump leads Biden in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Nevada.
He's coming up, and he's even or doing better. So, you know what? Once people start to focus in and they see their 2 choices, it's obvious that Joe will win this election.
Everything that guy just said is bullshit. Thank you.
You don't have to go to hell. You're in hell. This is hell. This is hell. This is hell.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Then strangled them, and finally dismembered their bodies.
Right.
Then do and homelessness and all that. And now, the voice you've been waiting for.
There is a secret song at the center of the world, and its sound is like razors through flesh. I'm here to turn up the volume.
I'm kind of retarded.
Well, if you're watching this, then you've somehow managed to survive the apocalypse. And I guess it was about a month and a half ago I started seeing these assholes pop up with the, oh no, something's gonna happen. They're declaring an emergency and saying you better stock up on food and make alternate communication plans. Like, yeah, dumb fuck, you got like 50,000 people that are planning on coming to little towns of like 2,000 people. They ain't got but 2 gas stations and 1 grocery store in the whole fucking town. You think that might cause a problem? Or the cell phone towers might get overloaded? But for some reason, even though total solar eclipses happen pretty much every year someplace on Earth, this is gonna be the one that just splits the Earth into 2. Or all the people in the totality are gonna be turned into werewolves. 2 different species of cicadas are gonna come out and they're gonna eat all the crops and fly up our dick holes.
Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
The only thing that even remotely got my attention for a couple seconds was when they said that CERN is going to be firing back up their bullshit on the same day. So everybody jumped on that. Ooh, they're going to open a portal and fucking demons are going to come through from another dimension. Yeah, you know, maybe not. There's a lot of people out there, me included, that think they might have already done that. Sure would explain a lot of the weird fucking shit we've seen going on the past years. I just don't understand why everybody obsessed so much over having some possible weirdness go down with the solar eclipse when you got 100 different things actually going on. We're out here getting poisoned from pillar to post. The air, the food, the water, the currencies all over the world getting perpetually devalued. Or an engineered food scarcity that's unfolding right in front of our fucking eyes, which is probably and hopefully what this whole bird flu craze is about. All of a sudden they're saying, well, we've got these cows that have bird flu, so it looks like we're gonna have to kill these cows. Right as soon as everybody starts figuring out that, hey, you know, you can drink raw milk, and it actually has a lot of health benefits, beneficial bacteria that you kill when you boil it to pasteurize it. Now all of a sudden, oh, it's unsafe because we've detected bird flu. And how did they detect this? I mean, did the cows get sick? No. We took a Q-tip and swabbed their butthole or whatever, and they tested positive on a PCR test. Yeah, that's right, the test that even the guy that invented them, Kary Mullis, who won a Nobel Prize, said himself that these tests should not be used to diagnose illness. That's what we're still relying on. Why? Because you can crank up the cycle thresholds and it'll crank out some positive results. Of course, the cows probably don't see that as very positive. It was the same thing with fucking chickens last year when they destroyed all of these chickens because they swabbed some and the PCR tests came back positive. Were they actually sick? Nope. And rather than see if any of them actually get sick and let natural selection take its course and the ones that survive would have natural immunity to getting this disease in the future, nah, let's just fucking kill them all and then we'll bring in some new chickens that are vaxxed. And this caused a lot of egg producers to go under and the price of eggs went through the roof, compounding with the devaluing of the currency. It's an attack on the food supply, and I say hopefully that's what it is because the other possibility is much darker. It could also be that we're about to see something like the COOF, only that actually kills a lot of people. A lot of people have long suspected that one of the reasons behind the COOF was to lay the groundwork, to set the lockdown infrastructure into place. You hear a lot of people talking about how, oh, we're not going to go for that lockdown bullshit again. Yeah, maybe not if it's another sub 1% mortality rate, but if you get something above 10%, a lot of these same fucking people are going to be saying, oh, but it's different this time. And not everybody will do that, but a lot of people will. So that's why I say hopefully it's not that, but that card is floating around in the deck somewhere. And then there's also this ongoing housing affordability crisis, where you've got a lot of people coming to the grim realization that they're probably never going to be able to afford owning their own home, despite many of them having college degrees and having done all the things they were supposed to. And it sure isn't helping the situation that for the past few years you've had BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard buying up all kinds of homes, many of them above market price, helping to drive the real estate bubble even bigger.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, at first glance it doesn't seem that genius because when that bubble bursts, what are you gonna do? Well, they don't give a fuck because they're not taking out loans, they actually own all this property outright. And it's not like they're trying to flip these properties, they're just renting them out. You remember that whole thing about you will own nothing and be happy? This would be what they're referring to. And then we should also factor in this new angle.
Y'all want to come with me down another rabbit hole of how the U.S. government is using private industry to fuck over the American people? This is going to be a quick video, but I wanted to put it out because I want to hear what people think. The basic gist is that the United States government is using BlackRock to permanently house all the illegal immigrants they've been letting in. So you know how companies like BlackRock have been buying up large amounts of the single-family real estate? And a shitload of the properties that they bought are in the state of New York. And New York just declared that they're going to pay homeowners there $125 a day to house a migrant. $125 a day per migrant, per bedroom. That means the taxpayers of New York are going to be paying $3,750 per migrant per month. Now think about all those houses that BlackRock bought. Let's say they got a 4-bedroom. That means they can house 4 migrants. And at $3,750 per migrant, that means that property would now be bringing in $15,000 a month. And if any of those migrants have a family, that's additional money on top. And BlackRock doesn't have to worry because the money's guaranteed by the government of New York. I mean, you have to think, so far in Biden's presidency, anywhere from 12 to 15 million illegals have crossed over. And then because of all the incentive programs that New York created, if you enter this country illegally, you'd have to be stupid not to go to New York. You're going to get paid. You're going to get fed. You're going to get housed, all for the price of either a bus trip up there, or maybe you can catch one of those flights that Biden's been sending under everyone's radar. But regardless, You're going to go to New York, where BlackRock owns thousands of homes. And I'd be willing to bet a lot of those homes are about to have an illegal immigrant as a tenant. And they're going to make sure they get at least one in every bedroom. And I would expect that this continues at least until the census.
The part about the flights that Biden's been sending under everyone's radar was referring to this. But if you look at the top recipients of this cultural enrichment down there in the right corner, it ain't New York, it's Miami. But the thing is, while he's right about it being a New York thing, the whole paying people to house migrants, what's to stop Biden from instructing HUD to make it a federal program? They'll just sneak it into one of these trillion-dollar funding bills that nobody even has time to read before they have to fucking vote on. And now all those private residential homes that these investment groups have been buying in all 50 states suddenly can start receiving federal money to house migrants. But of course, they would never do something like that, right?
Yes, but no. But yes.
And then, of course, there's the ever-escalating threat of war, whether it's the U.S. trying to protect democracy in Ukraine, the situation with China and Taiwan, North Korea and South Korea, and, of course, the Israel-Gaza situation. For some reason, they decided to be a good idea to do an airstrike on a fucking truck full of aid workers, 3 separate trucks, in fact, by accident, and they're seeming like they're trying to do everything they can to try to escalate this fight to the whole region. I mean, this was a clearly marked fucking truck with World Central Kitchen right on top of it, a big logo, and they want to try to act like it was some kind of boo-boo. Well, at first, Bibi came out and gave a press conference with completely tone deaf, where he basically said, well, you know, war is war. I mean, you know, bad things happen. Mistakes will be made. And then the next day, his spokespeople put out a statement saying, oh, we deeply regret this loss of blah, blah, blah. And they tried saying it was a mistake. They tried saying it was a landmine. And the guy that runs World Central Kitchen ain't buying that shit. And neither is anybody that has more brain cells than they have fingers and toes. They've been starving these people out for months now, letting very, very limited amounts of aid get through. And now, what do you know, a bunch of other aid organizations in response to this have said, yeah, we have to suspend our operations because we're kind of afraid that our trucks might go all splody on us. And then, of course, you've got Smarmy J. Cocksucker over here talking about, oh, this is a blood libel, unsupported by logic or evidence.
That lying bitch!
Also, he's been accusing Israel of targeting civilians in hospitals for months on Twitter. Yeah, because they fucking have been. What a little shit this guy is. He's like the fucking kid in school that would remind the teacher to check your homework, knowing that the kid that's next to him forgot to do his homework, and then after class, when he gets the shit beat out of him, he goes, oh my god, they beat me up for no reason. But then on the heels of bombing a truck that was obviously a fucking aid truck, they decided, hey, let's hit a diplomatic facility, and they hit the building next to the embassy in Damascus that just so happened to be the residence of the ambassador from Persia. You may know it as Iran, but it'll always be Persia to me. And this is a big no-no amongst the so-called rules-based order that we all seem to whine about when it suits us and then ignore when it doesn't. You're not supposed to fucking bomb diplomatic facilities. Doesn't matter if there's generals in there, you're not supposed to fucking do that shit. And they know that. They go on about this, oh, well, we have a right to defend ourselves. And people simply point out, yeah, you know, but you can't just go around committing war crimes.
Not to worry. I have a permit.
This just says the Holocaust. And that's what it is. That's their license to do whatever the fuck they want and say it's in our own defense. And anybody that even mildly criticizes it, they basically respond with, why do you want all Jews to die?
Oh, fucking hell.
And now this airstrike that killed 3 generals from Persia is gonna demand some kind of response. And when it happens, you're gonna hear, oh, look at us, we're the victims, all over again. Why, if I didn't know any better, I'd say they want to go to full, all-out war. It's been a long time since there's been for real no-shit warfare in the continental U.S. Nobody that's alive today has ever seen anything like that. And we're supposed to believe that it's because of all the wars we've fought on other people's lands is what kept us from having to fight here. Well, that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is, over all those years, we've created a lot of people in a lot of places that would all love nothing more than to get a piece of us. And that's why I said last week that the bug-out bag is the absolute last thing you want to have to resort to. But even if you put together what you believe to be a pretty solid fucking fortress, you want to have a way out. Or else at some point that fortress is undoubtedly going to end up being a tomb. It may seem kind of honorable or romantic to go out in this Alamo kind of blaze of glory, but why not at least try to leave yourself an escape route? As far as the plan and the details of what your escape route is going to be, that's literally going to be different for every single person's situation. Depending on your location, your structure, what kind of financial resources you have. It's a matter of brainstorming and wargaming it out in your head, thinking of the possible avenues of attack that you're going to be receiving, and then coming up with ways that you can create a diversion or distraction while you low-key slip out the back. And the best distractions or diversions are going to be some kind of boom.
Yalla boom.
Boom, yeah. I understand boom.
Maybe even a bada boom.
Bada boom.
Big.
What am I talking about? Why, fireworks, of course. You know, a neat little thing about fireworks, for pretty cheap you can get these little remote control igniters. They come with receivers, a remote control for ignition, and wire igniters so that you don't have to stand there and light some fuse. How convenient, right? And I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. For a very modest amount of money and effort, you can make enough homebrew bear spray to make your entire front yard very spicy, very fast. And anybody that isn't wearing a protective mask is going to be out of the game for at least a half hour. It's just a matter of getting creative and finding a method of dispersal. And again, everyone's situation is different, so everyone's plan has to be different as well. In fact, how about a little challenge? Let's see what our little brain trust here can produce. Supposing you're in a situation where you're 4 or 5 stories up and you've got a decent amount of food and water and everything you need, but then all of a sudden your building gets hit by marauders and a fire breaks out on the 2nd story, so there's no going down through it through the staircase. Who thinks they can come up with the best escape plan in that situation? If you think you've got an idea, drop it in the comments below. Let's see what we can come up with. Sláinte.
In this world is my thoughts and my words, and I don't break them for no one. You understand? So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy. Say good night to the bad guy. Come on. Come on. Come on.